Welcome back. I want to mention something to you before we start discussing the elements of a website. It is far more important to listen to what I am saying and observe what I am doing than it is to be taking notes. You can always come back and watch this video again later, but try to stay with the style of this course, which is learning by listening and doing. You'll also notice everything is very minimalist because the presentation is not as important as the information I am discussing. So please focus on what I am saying and doing. Okay, let's get started. The website you build with WordPress will consist of the following elements: your files and database, your hosting, and your domain. First, the combination of your files and your database are what make up your website. Your files are referring to files of code that direct what your website will look like and the functionality it will have. Some of the common code languages used with WordPress include HTML, CSS, and PHP. Your database stores information that is pulled out when requested by your files to display content. For example, your database may be storing profile information for users such as first name, last name, and email. That information is stored in your database and pulled out when a user is looking at his or her profile. This allows information to be well organized and pulled when needed. Second, your hosting is a place that stores your files and database. Think of it as a rental location to park your car. It allows your files and database to be stored somewhere so it can be served up elsewhere. This is why you need hosting to store and serve up your files and database. Third, your domain is the URL of your website, something like www.example.com. It's the location of your website. This is where your hosting serves up your files and database to display your website. An analogy I like to use to explain the relationship between your files and database, your hosting, and your domain is this. Here we have a computer, a projector, and a display screen. Your computer would be like your files and database. It consists of the real stuff that makes up your website, which is your files and database. It can work regardless of the projector and display screen. A projector would be like your hosting because it is storing and serving up information from your computer to display elsewhere. But the projector by itself can't do anything. It can't work without the computer because it doesn't have anything to store or serve up of its own. The display screen is like your domain because it is simply a location to display the information from the computer. The display screen would be useless without the projector and the computer. So to put it all together, your website is essentially your files and database. In this example, the computer. Your files and database are something that can stand alone. Your files and database are then served up by your hosting. In this example, the projector. Your hosting then displays what your files and database dictate onto your domain. In this example, the display screen. Your files and database are the core of your website. Your hosting stores and serves up your files and database. Your domain is the display location of your files and database. The last note to mention is that you'll have several different accounts to access each of these elements. You'll have a server username to access your files, a database username to access your database, a hosting username to access your hosting, and a WordPress username to access your WordPress dashboard. All of these accounts, including usernames and passwords, are independent. For example, you cannot access your hosting by logging into your WordPress dashboard. We'll set these up throughout the course. Now let's get you set up with hosting.